This is Steve Young for the Co-Roundtable. I want to share with you some experiences. I don't want to go into detail too much because people who, in these two meetings I want to talk about are friends and colleagues. But I left these two meetings, one a few days ago, the other just 2 days ago, feeling dispirited. And my quandary, my perplexity arose around the issue of education and thinking. Because it occurred to me that everything the Co-Roundtable tries to do, and I would argue that everything we as human persons try to do, involves thinking. We think things through, or we should think things through. And what goes into preparing us, training us, encouraging us to develop our thinking skills? I mean, the baby is born with the potential to become a genius, or not, that there's a potential in the physical structure of the mind. And the baby has ears, the baby has eyes, the baby has a mouth, it can articulate sounds. And for generations now, we human persons in different ways, we read, we talk, we listen, we see things, we reflect, our minds work. And we have sophisticated scientists who study our minds. They can wire us up and look at the way the parts of the brain actually function. But if thinking is important, how do we prepare people to think well? Can we even judge for what good thinking is about? My sense is yes, I think we can. But we can be open-minded about it, we can discuss it. But how do we prepare people to think? So one of the meetings I was at a very distinguished university, and we were talking about a topic which is very important for the Co-Roundtable, and I think all of us, which goes under the phrase now of human capital, which is the value, the virtue, the capabilities, the worth in all kinds of ways of human persons. And we tend to focus more in business and productive enterprise, but human capital applies, to how you are as a mother or a father, how you are as a religious leader, how you are in politics, how you are as a friend. Your human capital goes there. And we do have a sense, I think, of quality about human capital, that some human capital produces outcomes which we value more than other outcomes. But this group of academics, 40 or 50, from some very distinguished schools, were talking. It was a day and a half, a workshop. And what struck me is how little was actually said. We had good conversations. We did not get into arguments. Nobody really put forward a new thesis or defend an old thesis or articulate something in depth. There was little kind of what I call brainstorming. Well, what about this? What about that? I hear what you just said, but I'm reminded of something else, and what about that? And the focus of most of the conversation was on a search for data. In particular, going to companies, asking them for lots and lots of data points about their employees, which the academics would then analyze in some way. And while nobody said it, the assumption was that the analysis by the academics would lead to conclusions, and the conclusions would be helpful in some way. They would point out things that were dysfunctional or harmful. They would also maybe point out other things which led to well-being, which led to success, et cetera, et cetera. But what struck me at the end was nobody was venturing any theories. Nobody was really thinking. It was almost like they were turning the thought process over to the data. Let the data talk. I don't particularly want to take a position. Now, I didn't know these people, so I didn't want to get into any conversation about why are you so reticent? What are you afraid about? I can infer, given the culture of what's going on among intellectuals in America these days, being woke and this and that, and cancel culture, and not wanting to be called out as being prejudiced in some way. I understand all that. Those are very good reasons to hold back. But it struck me is that there was nothing in that dynamic in that meeting which I would say would lead to inculcating good thinking. Secondly, I was at a luncheon meeting where we were talking about character education in schools in the United States, actually just in Minnesota. And we had a speaker who was a younger person, a principal of a middle school, I think, who's well recognized, received an award for his school achieving things. And he basically gave a talk on the purpose of education these days. And it was sort of the purpose of education is to help young people develop character. But that's not what I heard him say. What I think I heard him say, and it left me dispirited, is young people today are so insecure, are so traumatized, that education is providing them with a therapeutic environment. We don't make demands of them. We don't really want to grade them. Some students are A, other students are D. What we need to do is to make sure that they feel that they are seen, they are safe, they are valued. We have to create a healing place for them. We have to nurture an environment of care and peace and safety. What the students want is to give me hope, give me a right space, and confirm my identity. I deserve to belong. You owe me. Society must be a safe place for me, and I deserve unconditional love. All of which, at some level, I agree with. I mean, I think people would be better off. But I didn't hear in that the challenges, personal responsibility, learning something. And I mean, I remember, I was supposed to learn things in 3rd and 4th grade, and sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. One of my early experiences, I think, was in 2nd grade, where the teacher asked the class how to spell the word cowboy. And I was stumped. I had no idea. It's a long word. How do you spell a long word? And then one of the girls raised her hand. She got up to the board and she did C-O-W. I got that, cow. And then she did B-O-Y. I got that. That was boy. And it was like a eureka moment for me. You take cow and boy, you put it together, you get the word cowboy. Now, I had moved through some sort of internal sort of pressure. I learned something. I started from a point of failure, and I got to a point and said, I get it. So I'm just wondering if in education, how do we balance taking care, if you will, the anxieties of young people, and at the same time setting expectations for them, particularly how they are going to interrelate with other people who are not going to be like them, who may not be nice, but who are part of their world.